It is often now I hear the voice of peace speaking from the civilians of the world. The question gets asked to me, can we not de-escalate this happy Cold War? If we just wanted to, can't we just end this sustained tension for good? Those who say this often contend that it is Delos that is most responsible for this current state of affairs, as we are the ones who spared Swanky from the threat of the Adeptus when others were more than happy to allow their zealous belligerency, as we are the ones who took those considered untouchable on the server in order to create an active population, as we are the ones who created an alliance in the first place to create a safeguard for our future. They say that because of these actions, the weight of history falls solely upon us. This is a lie. No doubt we share our part in the formation of history, as the Archonate has always held the agency to take the decisions others would not like, but would ensure a brighter future for itself. But for those in Helvetia to shed their burden of responsibility is a feeble lie only spread to help ensure that their responsibility in creating the tears in our global society goes unnoticed. I want you all to think back to the former League of Nations. This entity, much despised, much maligned, helped us to ensure one thing. All disputes were brought through the slow, arduous process of deliberation and bureaucracy, and any threat to the creation of world consensus will be met by all on an equal basis. Through this, there was no possibility of a Cold War like the one Helvetia says we are in today. I put it to you that Helvetia itself killed this entity, and as a result made a world filled with tension. Let us start with Amar, who were the most outspoken against the League. This organization was too global, too regulated, too involved for the anarchists, so they left it and denounced it. This is the thanks Amar gave to those in the League who pushed for it to first recognize Amar's legitimacy, then recognize their succession to the FNS, then gave them a seat on council, then agreed to change League policy to suit anarchist interests. The League tried to service Amar, but the anarchists themselves stated that their main interest in leaving was not because they didn't get what they wanted, but because they wanted the unthinkable. To loosen the restrictions on war, to free themselves of having to take diplomatic options. Amar wanted war, but now that their momentum has diminished and the balance of power has shifted, war is no longer palatable. Now Amar is the voice of peace. Is this from a point of relaxation? After the Griefer War, have they found the cost of war too great to bear any further? No. It is because now they have the chance to lose. This is why Amar speaks the voice of peace, while pushing the same kind of divisive propaganda it condemns. But where did their desire for unrestrained war spring? For that, the finger points to Dansvik, who shares the burden of murdering the League due to their war against Dixie. They and Amar both lobbied hard for those capable of punishing Dansvik for their unapproved war to turn a blind eye. They said, "You approve of Dansvik attacking this pariah, right? Why punish them then? This is a domestic issue. Why does the League need to get involved? What point is there to these League rules if they're only meant to hold nations back from getting what's owed to them?" On these questions, they convince the League to kill itself. To announce to the world that the rule of the League only applies when we think it's necessary, not all the time. Dansvik pursued his own nationalistic ambition at the cost of killing the only international deliberative body that could have prevented this Cold War, on the back of trying to secure what they believed their nation deserved. But now, as other nations, unrestrained by international deliberation and consensus, begin to do the same and seize what they desire, now Dansvik raises the specter of moral authority. How dare these nations act in such a single-minded, nationalistic manner? Don't they know the fate of the world is at stake? Obviously, Dansvik didn't. These nations had spent their time bending the League to their will, and once they were done with it, they left it and neglected it, leaving it to die. Now perhaps they wish they hadn't. Finally, we have the Adeptus. Their crimes are too numerous to mention. Between the pillaging of countless people and nations, their condemnation of everything and anything beyond the scope of their puny island, and their indiscriminate espionage on all more civilized nations. They set the stage for this kind of dissent, and I put it to you that the Adeptus has slowly sunk their tendrils into Amar and Dansvik, recognizing their weakness as they left or neglected the League, and manipulated their leaders and people into crypto-mechanicus, making them servile puppet nations to these zealous barbarians. Through these three specters of national failure and opportunistic isolationism, I have found the common uniting ideology of Helvetia. It is aggressive victimhood. They believe that they can do what they desire, but any attempt to halt their ambitions is a restriction on their liberties, an affront to their God, or an attempt to create a world police. It is with this that I answer those who ask for world peace. De-escalation has always been the goal of the Delos Pact governments, but to pursue what is incapable is futile. Anger begets anger, and as long as Helvetia seeks to use their anger against us to deflect from their responsibility in creating this happy Cold War, de-escalation will always be an impossibility. Thank you.